Backing up to
On my drive.
open hours. Welcome back, people. Where at?
I got my thunder right back there.
Okay, so make a folder on it with their name. So you don't want to stash it. What if you forget a file over in the corner? You know, you take and you put one. You got one file in this corner, and the rest are over there, and you forget that one. That's a bad day. All right, so here's where we're at today. This is some of our next fix. Ooh, I got 3 hands. Here, give me that paper so they're not.
Oh, you got.
So they're not. Yeah, they're not reading. Move that paper. I'll give you a mouse pad, I guess. All right, we're not doxing people online, giving out their info, their passwords, their phone number, and email. We're going to take a look at finding parts. I guess we should properly assemble this one. I took the battery out ahead of time to save a minute. We've got 2 computers here. We've got an HP 15F019DX, Core i3, I forget how many gigs of RAM, but it's Core i3 4th gen, I believe. And then this old Toshiba, which is a Core i5 Windows 7 computer. And it's either 1st or 2nd. I believe it's 2nd gen, so Sandy Bridge Core i mobile. We're going to take a look at the ways to get parts for them and to be sure that we're getting proper parts. So that's kind of what I wanted to do today. Get the paperwork out of the way, and we'll start on one here. I'm going to do a tear down. And diagnose and get some parts. Ooh, I almost have you off screen with my zoom. Oh. Alright, so real quick. Well, I guess it's real quick to me, but probably not to somebody watching. I like just rip it down, make a pile. We're probably going to actually rip it down and rebuild it just to get 100% confirmation that's the part we need. This computer, we could start up and kind of take a look at the processor in the BIOS. We could take a look at that, see whether it's AMD or Intel, which we know by the sticker on it. But that may not always be accurate, especially with an older computer. If you take and your computer, say you had your computer and it was starting to come apart at the hinges and you took it to shop to get it repaired. Okay? And it got a new top case where the screws go through the bottom case and mount up to keep it closed up together. This part, when you operate it, and your new top case was from a different model with a different processor. That's where the stickers don't count and why you shouldn't go by what they say. In this case, this one starts up. Our HP does not start up. The HP here doesn't start up. It actually, if anybody's familiar with the newer plugs on HP and Dell computers, it's basically a half the size version of the old plugs for Dell and HP. The old ones were, oh boy, what did they look like? And do I have it handy? I kind of do. Okay, so here's the older Dell and HP. I don't know if they were the same size, but they kind of did work for each other to a certain extent till they switched over to these ones that have some kind of some kind of logic built in where it recognizes the adapter. So it's basically a smaller version of this, the big outer barrel with the small pin in the center. Same thing here. In the HP's case, what that barrel plugged into actually broke out of the DC jack here. The centerpiece broke out, leaving all the pins that were around it to detect power, and then the center pins that detected the inner pin on the AC adapter got touched together and shorted out the motherboard. So we can't even turn this one on. We do have a sticker though, and chances are this is new enough that it was never repaired. So we could maybe Google the model number and find a board that would work. We're going to have, always you want to compare your ports, your I/O, and then just the location of stuff. Aside from that, you want to look at the shape of the motherboard when you're going for parts. So let's continue to tear this down as fast as possible, and this is where I wish I had time lapse to cut this time down for any viewers. If you want to be 100% certain you're getting the exact right motherboard, the best way to do it is do the full teardown on it and see what it is you need. I know there's a few people I watch online. Actually, I think this is a Toshiba. We should be able to bundle these all together and not have to lay them out in a pattern. Maybe till we get to the inner ones, they may be a slightly different size. But I watch a few people online that do teardowns live, and they usually just open it up, get to the board, and that's where they're, you know, same thing where they start the repairs if that's what it needs. We want to get into that here. We will eventually. Can't do every video all in one day. You gotta spread them out, right?
You gotta do it.
One thing at a time. Unfortunately, if we did it one at a time, it wouldn't be very, I don't want to say economical, very efficient. Alright, so we got a stubborn screw. We're going to go for the magnet. Probably still won't pull it out. Can we get it? No. So this one possibly may have something broken inside. We'll have to make note of that. No, it wants to come out. It's just not. Alright. Moving on. What you'll do is you'll run that, and then, well, you're going to run it, and you're going to load the update, and after you load the update, it'll open up a web page, download a zip file. So after the zip file downloads, open it up, extract the program from the zip file, and then just copy that new one over to your flash drive. Or if it'll let you save the downloaded zip right to the flash drive, find one for today's date, delete all others, and get the new one. That's what I've been doing lately on all the media that we use to the USB drives. I've been updating them to have the most recent versions on everything. It's a task, because, you know, if we didn't do nothing, that's all I had to do all day, I'd have it done in a day. But I've been doing it as I use them. I cycle through using different ones. Alright. Okay, so far, with our pile of stuff, we're going to go over, we have no screws under the ROM, which looks good. Let's take a look, make sure we didn't skip any. We do have the one screw stuck here, no big deal. It's loose, it's just not coming off very easily. We're going to go ahead and lift our keyboard, if possible, grab it by this corner. Alright, there it goes. And when you lift these, this is one I almost forgot about. This is a lighted keyboard, so it's got an extra ribbon cable. That was the design back then. Way back with this Toshiba. When it was a great computer back then. We may make it great again. Alright, and we have our lighted part out. Let's go ahead and undo our keyboard, set it to the side. How much more do we need to undo for this? Wi-Fi chip should not need to come out to take the top case off. Or no, 1, 2, looks like 2. That's all that holds this together. Ooh. I guess there were quite a few around the edges, so we'll try to be okay with that there. I don't think, oh, nope. Sorry. Cart ahead of the horse on that one. We have a ribbon cable or two to remove. There's one. And there's one. We can leave our, well, we're going to undo the speaker wire just because it runs into the top case. We don't want to pull it, rip anything loose. And our Wi-Fi wires might possibly too. Go ahead and pop those off. And finish trying to lift this. Alright, looks like the Wi-Fi wire stayed, so unnecessary, but safety. We don't want to break any more. Don't want to break anything really, but if something breaks, then it's on us to repair. So don't want to break anything, and if something must break, we want as little as possible. Electrically, this thing, it does boot up. We could check the processor that way. However, I want to get in exact shape on the motherboard. It doesn't stay running is the issue there. So it boots up, and it seems when it gets to a certain thermal point with one of the components, it shuts it off and just restarts it. And that's with a fresh install Windows, that's with different RAM, a different hard drive. Pretty much every component's been swapped out. You know the fan's not bad. The fan spins up. The fan runs the entire time, so it is keeping it cool. However, it just isn't working. Wow, that is a goofy power switch.
That's running. I'm gonna go, and I'll be back.
Go break some stuff. We need more. We need more work to do. Hey, come take a look at this power switch real quick. Come take a look at this power switch. I wonder. That's kind of like. Now, granted, I'll leave it here so people can see, but that's your whole power switch right there. It's just this little ribbon cable, and that's like most of them do it, but usually this is affixed to the top case where the keyboard and stuff fits in. It's usually screwed to that, not
upside down.
I wonder if that's what's bad. I'm actually, before we order a motherboard, we are going to go ahead and take note of the number on the model board here, or yeah, the model board.
That's good.
We're going to take note of the mother on the model board. Damn it, it's not what I meant.
You'll figure it out.
We're going to get the model of the motherboard, the proper model right here. But before that, we're going to try and turn this thing on without the power switch. All the repairs, when you do enough of them, the days blend in. They're all the same. You've already done everything on everything. That's our display. I guess we need that. So let's go ahead. We're going to reassemble this Frankensteinishly. We're going to get an external mouse and keyboard. Did you steal that one, or are you using it over here? Are you using it over here?
I was using it.
Alright, we're going to put this into the laptop, and then we'll see about... We'll have a keyboard, at least, as long as it works. It is on. We're going to try and Frankenstein this thing together to get it running, and we'll try and trigger this power switch to see is that going to do? Is it going to run? Is the power switch bad? Is the power switch what's shutting it off? Because on a desktop, if there's a power switch that's bad, how it would present itself would be real similar. The computer would start up, it would be working within Windows, and if that switch was sticking, it would shut down after so long, and it could shut down at different intervals. If it always shut down at the same interval, I would almost have to say that it was more than likely the power switch, but it shuts down at different intervals. So I don't think it's that, but I would like to check it out. We're going to go off the battery juice for right now, and then we'll get this motherboard apart and take a look. Alright, so our power switch is unplugged. Let's get something to span the pins and attempt to turn this thing on. We've got 4 pins, chances are good. And it is on. Now we're going to see if it will keep running. You know what? We got to shut it back down. Guess what? Boys and girls, don't follow old Nick off the cliff. It'll be a long fall down. I did the dumb thing and didn't have RAM in it. So let's power down. We'll throw our RAM back in. We're going to go with these 2 individual sticks, known working until we break them. Then they'll be in the not working pile. Alright, we've got power, or we've got RAM now. We're going to throw the battery back in and attempt this all over again. Let's trigger it, turn it on. Not that kind of triggered. Have a heart, people. Alright, and it is booting up. Now we're going to see to what extent it will boot up. Will it stay running? You know what? Let's do this. We're going to... It says insert boot media. And press a key. So we're going to do that. And there's our boot media. It's our hard drive, not the actual customer's. Theirs is here with their initials. Reboot. Okay, let's reboot it and see what happens. Alright. So this Windows setup may finish on this computer. Sorry, we'll take it out to a bigger screen. Can we take it over? And now this thing may want to shut off on us. And that's what I'm hoping for. That it does its reboot with the power switch out. If it... Oh, whoa. Okay. There's the HDMI port. Let's see if this repair is going to grab. No, I do believe we're going to have to get a mouse into the situation. Alright, let's get a mouse set up on this thing. Hold on, give me a moment here, people. I gotta hop over here on OBS and change a key. Where is it? All the way down here. There it is. Okay. Let's clear that. And clear that. And we're gonna set a new one. And we will. Let's hit apply. Okay, alright, I just had to switch a key combo. For my mute and unmute. What are you doing, dome head?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Check
Oh no, man. Don't do that. Okay, yeah, we got to get it to a desktop and then I can show you. Not that it's important. We're just going to see if it restarts. So far, so good setup. But this thing needs a few minutes before it would exhibit the symptom of shut itself off and start back up. However, if it doesn't do it, we may have found the culprit, a bad power switch. Really really hoping that's it. That would be way better than a motherboard. However, it may be harder to find. We do have the part number on the sticker there, but when computers get to be a little older, the parts become cheaper for them. The bad thing is though, once they're so old, the parts are so few and far between, they're kind of scarce, and the price kind of skyrockets then when the stuff gets too old, because nobody has it, and the people that do want a premium for it. Sometimes you can get lucky and find stuff on older stuff, but I'm talking like generally 7, 8 years and older. In general is where you run into the expensive parts. So they're thanking me for my patience right now. It's attempting to start up. Did we grab it yet? When we did. So it's still working on the setup. We'll let it do that. In the meantime, let's get back on over. And we really don't have any room to work here. I'm gonna make some room in the present moment. Or yeah, present moment, present time. We'll take a moment here and make a little room. We're going to carefully pick up this all-in-one and move it out of our way to get a little more space on the bench. Okay, a little more room there now. Enough? I don't know. Should be enough to... You're welcome, Microsoft. I don't think you thank me enough, but you're welcome. I agree. I agree with what you're doing, Microsoft. Thanking people. Alright, so you go crazy if you don't. We're going to let that run. We got a little room on the bench. Not so much because of the HDMI, but I think we can get that HDMI a little bit out of our own way. I'm going to take a look here. I'm looking for an adapter if we have it. And it is not in there. It's alright, we'll grab another new one out of the stock. Boy, those things are fancy. What is that? That's a little light. What is that, a UV light? Just a little switchy light. I'm not very smart. I don't know how it works. Oh, okay, no, not a UV light, just a in general light. We're going to throw our HDMI up out of the way so we can use this little bit of room here to work as soon as I get the adapter, if it does it the right way. Now, and what do you know, it's actually would throw it downward with the way the cable plugs in. So that not happening. You've got one other option. And where are you at? HDMI adapter. And what is going on here? We got incoming. We're actually taking a look at our HP. Let's see what's happening here. Put it back to normal. Like I want to put it back to the state it was.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I have to open it to find out what size drive you have in it. And then, because they make a couple different size drives, did you have a lot of data that you kept on here?
It was actually my daughter's.
Okay.
And I would say there was a lot of pictures on there.
Okay. That, I don't even know if, let me see if this is the right one. I don't even know if you'll be able to get any of those back. If the hard drive isn't functioning at all, where like a computer can't mount it to read it or write to it, then that's something you may be able to send away, being that it's a solid state drive. I don't know if that can even be done, honestly. I know people could do hard data recovery on hard drives. We don't offer those services here. That even for normal hard drives, like you're talking, just to give you, you don't know about computer hardware, right?
No.
Okay, so here's an old hard drive. It has platters in that spin. We replace these, and then you have newer hard drives, which are SSDs. They have no moving parts. They can stand up to bumps and bangs and shocks easier. The SSDs are basically kind of like this is a memory stick of memory, but they're kind of like this, no moving parts.
Okay.
So they're going to stand up to your everyday bumps and bangs. The one that's in there is a bit of a different type. It's probably about that long. It's a long, and then all the interface pins are on the end instead of on the edge. That is that's what you have in here. I'll show you as soon as I get it opened up here. Let me take these few screws out, and I'll get a size on it. And
so what made it do that?
No idea. Has this ever been serviced or worked on before?
Never.
Not by anybody at was it bought?
No, never. bought it brand new.
Brand new, not refurbished or not
No,
discounted?
brand new, brand new.
Okay.
My daughter was going to college, and I bought it for her. I just know it's like 4 years old because I bought it for her when she went to college.
Right. Alright. Stuff malfunctions. People make it, and some of it lasts longer than others.
The other Apple I have is 8 years old, and actually I wasn't sure if I should bring it in at 2 because if it's even worse. I have a lot of stuff.
8 years old, so it's like a 2011.
It's 8 years. Yeah, it's 8. No,
It
yeah.
might even be older than that.
It was a brand new 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The older it is, I don't know if they had the SSDs in that year. Like I don't. They changed periodically year through year.
Right.
The older they are, the more likely it's going to have an older style conventional hard drive in it than a newer one. But we'll get a size off your hard drive here. Give me 1 moment. We'll open this up and take a look at it. Alright. So, right here is your hard drive.
Okay.
I don't have bright lights out there, sorry.
That's right.
It doesn't look bad. We have some stuff here, like we have some adapters that we can pull this and plug just that drive into to try and see if it's malfunctioning. And if it's not that, then chances are that the motherboard's bad. You can replace the motherboard. That's a repair we could do here. We could get the board and replace it. There are other people that could actually repair this. And price-wise, I don't know what that is going to cost. So that's what I'll determine whether the hard drive's bad or the motherboard. If I pull this out and this won't read, like it won't mount in the adapter, then that means something else is wrong with it.
Okay. Do you need this charger?
Yeah, we don't have one of those here. So let me set this down. I'll put the screws back in. I'll have you fill out a piece of paperwork, and then either Dave or myself will give you a call and let you know what's exactly wrong with it.
Let me go there for the price.
What's that?
And we can basically go there for the price then. The price.
Yeah. We'll let you know what it would cost, and there are other options. Like I said, if it's motherboard that's bad in it, well, that's nothing we can repair here. We can put a new one in, and the cost that can be expensive. And also, if you want to fix that motherboard, sending it to somebody else, that can be a little bit expensive.
Yeah, if it's gonna be $500-$600, might as well buy a brand new big computer.
Right.
That was like $1,200, $1,300, but
originally, yes.
Yeah.
Name, phone, sign. And we'll put 6/6/19. I think that's the date.
today's the 6th. It is.
Yep, 6/6. All right, just name the best contact number, sign there, and then the problem I can write down if you want.
Yeah, yes, because
All right, people, we got another Apple in here. I unmuted for part of it and muted part of it. We got into details. We try not to throw phone numbers and stuff out there, as always. Let's tear this HP apart. HP, you loser. Loser. What are you doing to me, HP? Do you know how many of these, this physical shell of HP that I've worked on here? There's one here being repaired now. I always wanted one of these, like that looked like this, either with or without a touchscreen. I didn't care. There's one here being worked on now. There's another 2 or 3, I can't remember, another 2 or 3 that are here dead. They're dead. AMD machines. One's an Intel. I want to put that out there. There is a dead Intel one of these here. The other 2 are AMDs. And then the other one being worked on is also an Intel. So Intel does have its faults. When you send 19 volts to the wrong place, that can happen. Alright, let's get back on to this. We got to do a time check. I can't run into where I'm running into my other job, and we're still pretty good on time. So we'll get this torn apart and get our model numbers for our motherboards. These have a lot of screw. I mean, I guess it's not a lot realistically, but I think there's a lot to it. Oh, I hear a little scooter outside. Not a motorcycle. It sounded like a legit little toy scooter. All right, we need the magnet to get this one out. And there it is. Okay. Go home. Magnet, go home. That's also another fun aspect of any job where you deal with the public, really, because if you're talking about something where, and not saying everyone's dumb or anything like that, like I'm not insulting anybody, but where there's people that don't understand some stuff you might be saying, like it's always a challenge to try and explain stuff to people, and especially about IT or computers or tech. Like I don't even understand a lot of stuff. And sometimes they want to know stuff pertaining to that stuff I don't even understand. I try to simplify it and say, I really don't know, but this is the best way I understand it. It's always challenging to do that, to talk to people, and always make it simpler to where they can understand it without being confused. Like I've been places before where I got confused by people with, the technical jargon and techno babble in their job field, and I usually try not to do that to people. Like that's usually just a way of confusing them or selling them on like bullshit, basically. Selling bullshit to somebody, and I really try not to do that. I don't 100% know what I'm talking about in every matter, but I'm at least a little educated on it from experience and reading. Give me a moment, people. We got to get this phone. Here we go. They're checking up on me. The people, they want to know, what are you doing with my stuff? Where's it at? Did I break it further? I would never do that. That's not what counts. It doesn't help to break it further, people. That's not the goal here. I do believe we got most of the screws out. And we're taking a look. We left the one in for the ROM, so we need to extract this one over here. And we'll do it. We'll do it. I have faith. I have faith in you, screwdriver, that you will get my ROM screw out. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you, little screwdriver. Look at that. That's the good news. Let's find out the bad news. We're going to make a pile of HP parts and Toshiba parts. We're going to put them on 2 separate counters, so we're not confusing ourselves later. Alright. And here's the annoying part of some computers. When you got a switch for the same type of bit, but a slightly different size. They have these super monstrous heads with literally no shank screw in the ROM tray. They're annoying, but essential to hold it together. HP, you losers. What are you doing to me? It's not efficient to have to switch bits. But I guess that's the whole idea behind the bit game with these repair kits. These microelectronic screwdriver sets. Alright, opened up. We're getting to the motherboard. We need to get that out. Let's grab our metal, our professional. This isn't an eye opener, but it's a very, and I don't even know who thought of it originally, but yeah, it's basically, it's a clone of an eye opener, I think. Or what's the other one we have Dave uses? What is that thing even called? I think it's Jimmy, the one from iFixit. It has a metal end for opening stuff and then a nice rubberized handle. I think it's called Jimmy. Alright, we've gained access to under the keyboard. Now we have to unlatch the rest of it. And granted, like I said, is this the only way to get the model number for your motherboard? No, there are other ways. I'm sure there's ways I don't even know about. If you get into repairing high levels of, or you do warranty work for an actual manufacturer, Dell or HP, I'm sure there's other ways they can tell. Maybe you can get stuff off the service tag or from serial number. This is just the way I've always found the boards I needed. Alright, almost. Almost. We're going to keep these separate from the other ones. That way we don't have to dig them back out later. These are the ones internally that hold this thing together. Through the top case into the bottom case. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be it. Ribbon cables are undone. Keyboard's obviously out of the way. Let's crack into it. I got one of these in one time. We're going to do a short tangent here, if acceptable. Where is it? There it is. Is that it? Did that? Yeah, okay. That did on me. I bumped the dang keyboard. Here is, I got one of these in, and somebody had taken a pretty awesome metal tool and pried into this little crack right here around on it, because you can get something in there if you want, but this is not the place where this one opens along this line. It's actually the one on top where you get into it. And what they did was taken in all the place where it was like plastic weld, or where they'd taken and put two plastic pieces together and then had something melted to hold them together, kind of like the trim plates held onto a keyboard. Like this, you have the trim plate around the keyboard, and then all these little plastic knobs are melted down to lock that trim plate in place. Same thing with these two pieces. They're put together, this part, and then melted. It's physically melted a little bit, and that's what holds the two bottom pieces together. Somebody had pried one apart, and that's what it did. Is somebody, I guess a lady, had tripped on a cord. The laptop flew off the bed, and it could have been repaired. However, the person that pried it open really gouged the motherboard when they did, so it was not easily repairable. And I think she wanted to pay us $10 if we repaired that computer at that point. And that's not possible. It's not a $10 repair. If it were, we would have. But yeah, that went to the scrap pile, and she ended up buying a very similar spec HP used one. Okay, so we have it open. Let's zoom it in a little, and we'll get our board number here. Oh, we got the phone ringing. Monkey's calling me. What do you want? It's not time. It's not time to play. We're not going to the zoo today. We're getting motherboard numbers. Let it be. Let it be. Alright, so here we go. Let's take a look at our model number here. Sorry, I did that one-handed and grabbed a quick drink of coffee. Alright, so our actual model number there. This camera, I hate. Like, these Logitechs work great. They don't freeze. But I'll tell you what, as far as getting them to zoom in on something and do it reliably, look at that. It kept its focus back there versus focusing there. Like, you can kind of get it, but the glare just throws it. So we're looking at DA0U83MB6EO Revision E. So, now that we did that, actually, maybe that would have worked if I wasn't a dummy and zoomed in. Yeah, not even. It's hopeless. Give it up. Logitech webcams will never focus for me. Maybe I could lock the focus, but I wouldn't want it locked close. Then you'd never see stuff far away. So let's do the DA. DA 0U83 MB6EO MB6E0 Revision We got another number calling. Unreal. Check it out. I don't even know that number. Let's see who it is. Here. I couldn't even hear. That was so crackly and distorted. That had to be somebody like with some kind of malfunction of a phone or something. Who are you? Don't call. Alright, back to it. Revision E, I think I said? Yes, revision E. Revision E. So there's our board. We don't want the BIOS dump. We want motherboard. Definitely not from AliExpress. 15N 4000. That is, I don't think that's our board. Maybe. Okay. DA0U83MB6EO, but it doesn't have a revision number. i3 4005U, that could be right. Let's see. This one has 2 RAM slots on it. This particular HP. It does have the dual RAM slots. It doesn't come with the heatsink, but luckily we have that in the fan. Now we're going to look at the part where the battery is. We'll compare that, and let's actually look at it the way it sits in the case, which would be this view. Okay. So we know right where that 14 is, we have a kick down, and if we compare that to here, we do have the same little kick down with the 14. It goes over, and then the display connector connects. There is the other little part where I don't know what plugs in there, but some of them have it, some don't. I think that's the touchscreen, and this one's not a touchscreen model, so it doesn't have it. Following the board around, we have an Ethernet port. We have where the heatsink would go, right there, that gap. Our HDMI, 2 USB, and then finally the card reader. Moving on the front of the board, we have the same thing here. Sorry I didn't show it. We have the same thing there going across as we do on this one. And then let's get over to where the ports are. We have where the hard drive ribbon cable comes and connects on the far right side. Slightly above it is where the optical drive ribbon cable would go into that white and black connector, and then where our keyboard connects. So this is an identical looking model. Serial numbers in the same spot, everything is the same. And that is an open box one. It's coming from Ohio. Let's find out what this open box. A new, unused item with absolutely no signs of wear. The item may be missing the original packaging. So it's for a 15N. Pulled from a new tested system, is in 100% working condition. So this is where it gets a bit confusing when you start getting into getting motherboards. What does that mean? Pulled from a new tested system. So it was, they opened up a brand new computer and for some reason pulled the board out to sell it? No, unlikely. Maybe a fairly new and was broke, so they're calling it new. Like maybe somebody dropped it right away. I don't know, but I don't buy that it's new. See the full item description. New tested system and is in 100 included. Yeah, that's not a very good description at all. Like I clicked the link to see the full description and they take me here. They are a platinum seller, which I don't know. I don't know what any of that means on eBay. I don't know how much it matters. But just looking, and you can see, here is the part number and everything. That's the number that we got, the revision E one. And here's one that I just pulled up from the model number. So we got a 15P motherboard, which dual RAM slots, and I don't think is correct. I'm going to Yeah, they don't have, do they have more pictures here? That's what I want to look at. Looking at it, yeah, no, our board definitely does not have these cutouts. That one would not work. And this was just going by the model number on the bottom case of the laptop. It may slot in. We don't have the cutout right here by the SD slot. Like you see the SD slot and then move further right along the bottom edge. We don't have that part where it cuts up in and does the two steps. Not on our board. Our board's right here. It doesn't cut up in. So although that one may fit in, it may entirely work. Actually, I don't think it will. Look, the slots are... We still have some of the same ports, but it looks like one of them may be moved to a different spot. Yeah, and then no port for the keyboard. So I'm gonna say this one is not gonna... Yeah, keyboard. Is that where the keyboard goes? Wow, that's in two entirely different spots. So the keyboard goes here on this one, and then on this one, the keyboard goes right there, over right behind the SD. So on ours, the keyboard is here. The one on screen now, the keyboard connector looks like it's here. That's not going to work for us at all. I don't even know how that would work. Oh, that one would sit in a laptop where it's on the right hand side. So no, that would not work in this particular model. We need to look more along the lines of this other, which is cheaper. This one would physically set into the case that we're looking at. The part number matches, but just out of curiosity's sake, let's check this one to see if it has the similar part number as our actual proper one. No, it's different. It even has a sticker. Can we find it anywhere on this? Actually stamped on the board where it's not a sticker? No. Show me the other side of the board. That's what we want to see. Yeah, no, so that's from the main difference. Although the board looks similar, like I said, the main difference, the one we need it sitting obviously in the left side of the bottom case. That board that we're just looking at it would actually sit in, I think, with the ports on this side, the right hand side. Does that make sense? Maybe it would sit in the left, but it's simply not going to work. I don't see there's any way it could. Unless it flips over and sits that way, but that wouldn't make sense. But then again, who knows? Definitely not the right part going by the overall shape. And this is the board. Remember, I pulled that board up by looking at the model number right here on the bottom case. So I just wanted to do a comparison. What results could I get by Googling or going on eBay, going on Google, whatever, and getting a model number or getting a motherboard replacement going off the model on the laptop to actually physically opening it up the way I normally do and getting the number off the board. That's your 100% certainty. Matching that up, you will get a part that will work unless somebody has it mislabeled. In that case, it was seller error and not, or it could be user error. If you don't read the description, they say part pictured is not the actual part you're getting. It's just for reference. And a lot of people do the reference photos with the wrong thing pictured to what you're actually buying. So you gotta do your research, be thorough when getting a motherboard replacement. So one's wrong. That's out of the question. This is the result just from the bottom case for the actual model number of the laptop. We'll close that. We know we have a better match here. Now we can try and find some more for maybe a better price, maybe not. In Ohio, that's not far. That won't take long to get to us, and we will have this computer. We'll make it great again for its owner. So that's a good route. Let's go ahead and close this up and get back to finally checking in on a repair. This thing has stayed on longer than I think it's ever been on. Now granted, it hasn't been doing a damn thing other than sitting here. So give me a moment. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch out, and I am going to enter my information on the laptop to get it to a state of working, like a state of booted up to Windows, and we're going to put a load on and see if it shuts off. And if it doesn't, I'm going to call the power switch what was wrong with it. I don't think that's the case, but let's go ahead and get some details in here. Again, this is a fresh install of Windows, so we'll just put in my usual, or not my usual, we're going to do my backup. Backup Microsoft account, the one I use for stuff such as this. Can we go there? Nah, you can see what I'm typing. Sorry friends, we're not doing it. I hate these new setups when we'll just do the same pin that we always use. Hit OK and get logging in. I think we can go back to that view, being that it's not great. There's our repair view. So already this thing is doing something different just with the power switch unplugged. It hasn't reset. It's been sitting on for a while. This is huge progress compared to what it did yesterday when I looked at it. This was the customer that came in and had an appointment, and I had to end the stream, and we hopped off of the live, or the all-in-one that is sitting behind me. So I'm waiting for it to get up to speed to get into Windows. While that's doing that, I'm going to grab our laser temperature sensor and see if there's anything overly hot on this board. 98. Let's check that fuse. Okay, boy, that fuse is at 100. Some of these components are probably going to be hot. 100.5. Let's check this coil. It's like coil's at 97. All pretty cool. And capacitor 87. 87. Just using one of these. You put the dot where you want it and get a reading. Woo, 91.5 on the glove. 89 degrees my arm. That don't make sense, does it? So how accurate? What's the human body supposed to be? 98.6? Can we trust it? I don't know. I've had pretty good results with them. 91. Checking the temps. Heat sink 87. The fan, probably can't get it. Ooh. Is it shining through to the bottom case or hitting the fan blades at 85 degrees? Only save files to this PC. We'll accept Cortana. No, we don't want activity history. Is that what they call it? The new thing where it does it across multiple devices? Yeah, we don't want that, people. Okay, so next plan, we still got to look up our model number, or our motherboard model, which is here. Next plan, we're going to let this get through to Windows. It's working on, it's not quite there. It's the in-between from a brand new setup to getting to your desktop after you log in with your details. So let that get into Windows. We're going to shut it down. Plug that power switch back in and boot it up. And if it still stays on with the power switch plugged in, we're going to throw the top case back on to simulate almost a real user scenario, because maybe whatever component is getting hot isn't shutting it off because it's staying cooler with the top case off. So we're gonna get it back to a more normal use scenario with if the power switch, if we plug it in and it resets it, pretty good idea, that's bad. If it doesn't and it's plugged back in, we gotta determine what it is. I think we gotta get this thing heated up. I hope, maybe. Alright, so that's doing what it's doing. We got some of our parts on the other one. It is 4:27, so I'm kind of being a little conscious with what time it is. I do gotta go. I'm gonna tell this guy the good news so far about this. We don't have definite news, but we have better news. It is starting to look like a much cheaper repair than more expensive. So, yeah, that's a good day. Coffee break if you got it, people. Wow, it's not that it's working. I unplugged the power switch and turned it on without it turned by jumping the pins. Now, we're going to find out whether... I logged in with my own Windows stuff. This is a fresh install Windows on one of our hard drives. I have his here. I have some of our RAM in it. Just because of the whole Frankenstein nature of it, I don't want to short out anything his. We're up to a functioning desktop. So what I'm going to do is shut this thing down and plug that power switch back in. And if it resets when I power it back on, I'm going to say that switch is bad and making it restart itself. What do you think?
Good possibility, because if that switch is grounded out, it's going to turn it off every
Right, all the time, like it has been doing. Now, if it doesn't with that switch plugged back in, then I say I got to move on and put the top case back on to get this thing heated up in like a normal use scenario. So much fun figuring out how, why, what is it? Is it broke? Alright, let's go ahead and get this shut down. Alright, shutting down. We'll plug our switch back in and see. Is it going to reset on us? We don't know yet. Hopefully it does, and that solves our issue. So I found, remember that motherboard I pulled up for $134? That was the wrong one. That was for an entirely different model HP. But that was the board I got, and that's the model on the bottom of the bottom case on the sticker.
makes a difference, man.
Yeah, and that's what inspired the whole video for today. Getting a motherboard model number just from the model of the laptop versus the actual model number of the motherboard makes a difference. Alright, let's go ahead. We're going to unplug our power, and then we have to get our DC jack, or our battery, pulled out of it also. So we'll unplug our HDMI. We're going to do the little flippy and flip this over somewhat. Take the battery out. We need to lose power to plug that switch in safely. So there, our battery's out. don't like that, but if we must. Before we put any power to it, let's plug this thing back in. Where is it at? Right there. Oh, I know it. I'm ready to throw the AC in here, man. I'm ready to spend like $500 or $700 on one of those split unit ACs so we get the noise outside and have that nice cool source of air in here not making any noise. I'm sorry, but that AC noise on mic just sounds horrible. It does. I did it last year. Won't do it this year. Alright. So our power switch is plugged back in. Let's see what happens. Did we find the issue of this thing? Now, what do we do here? Do we turn it on with the switch, or do we turn it on by jumping the pins?
I'd turn it on by jumping the pins if it stays on, and then try that switch maybe.
See if
Try
this
the switch now.
to see if it exhibits the same thing, same problem. Okay, well we're doing it, man. It's coming up so far. So far, so good. I really wonder, is it going to shut down, or is it? I don't think the switch is bad. I think it's just not getting hot enough because the top case is off. I think we have an electrical problem on board the motherboard, and we're going to end up having to figure out that that's it. This has been a long, drawn-out battle on this guy. We've been fighting this one from, man, it seems like forever. We rode a giraffe to get this far along on the journey. Had a couple camels spitting at us. Just to do battle with this laptop, we've been on quite a journey. Camels spitting at us, giraffes. A few dinosaurs, if you believe in that sort of thing. Alright, so it's starting up. So far, so good. Let's kick over to the laptop. That way if it shuts off, you'll see it the same moment I do. How we're going to stress it out and heat it up a little bit. I think we'll run an Intel burn test on the thing. I don't even know if I have any drives. Everything's currently being used to clean up computers. Oh, we got one right here, unless this is our multi-boot. I don't think
That's a multi-boot.
Yes, it is. What a waste. Get out of my face. Alright, we do have a few USB ports left. Let's go ahead and plug into one of those. We're going to start a burn test on this. So it hasn't shut down with the switch yet. I honestly don't think it's the switch. I think it's the board. Yeah, I'm actually heading out myself, man. It's 4:35. Thursday, man. Gotta go, man. Should have heard this muscle car just race by. Impressive. Alright, USB's in. Let's fire up our Intel burn test. Hopefully we can heat it up and it shuts down. I don't think it's the switch though, honestly I don't. I think it's just not warm enough because of being open. What's the matter? Will it not detect our USB? Nope, there it goes. Okay. It should pull it up. We got a flashy. There we are. Problem with the drive. Let's scan and fix it. How long could this possibly take? Thorn in our side. Repair it. It's only 8 gigabytes. I know you can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you, little M-Tech flash drive. I know you can repair yourself with the help of Windows. Believe in it, rest of the world. Believe in it. It will work. I even got out the temp gun, Dave. I even got out the temp gun, taking temps of different key components, and like everything's well within the spec it's supposed to operate. So how this thing keeps shutting itself off, I don't know.
Need one of them little things.
Trying to test here, just putting slight pressure on the switch, not pressing it, just letting like our power button resting on it, because the power button's a little loose and does hang, but I don't think that's turning it off. Yeah, not happening. Alright, our drive was repaired. We are getting ready to run out of here, so let's get this burn test going and hope it. I think we need a Windows feature installed, the .NET framework, so I'm pretty sure this isn't going to work right now. To be continued. I have both of these opened up. I'll get you board numbers tomorrow, alright? Alright. Well, I have them. I have the one. I have the other one here in front of me. Download and install. And that's going to be that. We're going to let it there. I'll probably start the burn test before I leave, as long as it gets the .NET framework installed. This before I leave, I will start this burn test and see. I think it's being opened up, letting a lot of fresh air get in, and it's running cooler than normal. I think that's why it's not shutting itself down. We do have the battery in, or don't we? Do we, don't we? We don't. We're just running off power. There's all kinds of things that will make these shut themselves off. Finding the actual reason was what drives you buggy. Anyhow, thank you for watching, people. I am cutting out of here, going to the day job. Have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Share it. Get it out there. There may be other people that wanna get their hands dirty as well. Maybe somebody needs help with a problem. Let's get that help to them. I'll see you tomorrow.